The success of a global integration project depends on, among other things, optimized governance and security. We are joined today by Microsoft MEP Nino Crudele, who has been doing exclusive research on Azure serverless security. He will share best practices and options in the field and will also show you all the fundamental aspects to achieve perfect governance and security in Microsoft Azure. We welcome you, Nino.
Hi, everybody. Oh, so nice to be here. I mean, after, 2 years, integrate everything. So, first of all, thank you all. That was amazing time. I want to applause all of you. Please. And BizTalk 360 team, nice event. I'm really enjoying this. It's very nice energy. Let's begin inside the session. First of all, that's a warning, because we are speaking about security here. And some of the things you are going to even learn today, they can be very dangerous. So why I'm doing this? I'm doing this because I think it is important for people to know exactly how security works, all right? And also in the real field. So you can actually understand and feel what it looks about when we speak about security. I'm very happy to share the code, because you will see something today. Of course, I'm not going to put this in public now, because it is also online, everything like that. But feel free to contact me in LinkedIn or send me an email, ask for the code. I will give you the code after a couple of questions, like, I will ask about your name. If you answer me, I hate humans, I'm not going to give you the code, because obviously it's going to be something bad. So something about myself. I'm currently Solution Director at Hitachi Solutions. My expertise are about, of course, security, a lot of integration. I'm sure many of you remember about my person, the Brad Pitt of integration, the BizTalk Grinch, all these kind of things. So this is actually my past and my history. I migrate this expertise about integration in Microsoft Azure. I've done a lot of architecture and infrastructure and a lot of governance, and this is something that I'm going to bring also today. MVP since 2006, some certification, everything about cybersecurity, speaker, blogger, and author. So let's begin in the session with the agenda. First of all, what is about this session? This session is not about a list of technology best practice for integration. No, it's not something like that. This is something that you can actually find everywhere on internet. You have a lot of things and resources. We will speak something about that. Takeaway, something I hope to give you today, and that's for me is the key of this session, is to give you a new point of view about security, all right? Second, a better way to approach about security. And the third, the most important, the slide deck I create today, these 10, I put a gold, because they are really gold tip about security. So keep this slide deck with you. Just follow the 10 tips I'm going to provide you today. And if you're going to do that, I'm guarantee you your security for integration will be amazing, especially also for your company. So first tip, one of a quite important tip, is understand security first. That is really important. When I speak with people about security, everything, they look, and they have different view about security and so on. It is really important understanding at security, because something you need to understand is we are speaking now during this conference, and what you are seeing now in the monitor is actually what is happening right now around the world. So everything you see in this highlight, there are actually attacks. Okay, companies, people, this is malware, all these kind of things. The real view about security is actually this one. This is actually a real war, all right? Everything you see here, that is actually attack everywhere, all right? Even now, during we are speaking, this is what actually is happening right now. Something is a kind of good consideration, and this is why I'm going to show you this. When I saw this slide from Microsoft, for me, was a kind of highlighting. I say, that's interesting, okay? What you see here is the type of attack. It is, I would say, the hacking market of attack. This is how much costs an attack. And you can see the price of the attack. From the 0 day, which are the most expensive attack. A 0 day means you are able to find something that actually it is a threat, is a bug inside an infrastructure. It can be Microsoft Windows or wherever, so it's extremely dangerous, all right? It may affect your system very badly. We will see one today. And the other one, you see ransomware and so on, they are much cheaper. What that means? It means that these are the most usual attack you may face in your company. Ransomware, all right? This is very common attack, and phishing, denial service, because they are cheap. So they are very easy also to conduct, okay? And this is one of the things that for a person, I think is quite important to understand, all right? So when we speak about security, it's not just about doing security for the sake of security. Like I'm going to do wherever I can to block like a 0 day. It's not really easy to get a 0 day attack, but it's very easy to get a ransomware attack. And this is these kind of things when you develop your solution, integration solution, or wherever things, always thinking about what is actually can be the most possible attack for the company. And technology speaking, what we have, technology speaking, for security. This slide is impressive. I think you agree with me about that. The number of security technology here, I cannot even name it. Is everything. It's around 1,000, 1,500 technology just in this slide. That's impressive, right? So, but what is really important to understand about security is this is not security. This is technology. This is not security. Many people look at these things like, oh, okay, that's security. If I want to be a security expert, I need to learn these things. And this is not true, because this is not security. This is just technology. This is the most important things to understand security, the first step. Always keep in mind. Tip number 2, and we are going deeper now, security transcends technology. That is really important. When people approach at security, it's always starting from technology. Like, okay, let's make our integration solution secure. What are we going to do? Put API management on front, put application gateway, put a firewall, or wherever it is. Immediately speaking about technology, which is not true. It's not the way to think about security, right? So the first thing to understand is exactly this one. Technologies depend by people and process. A good security person never start thinking about security starting from technology. That is the order about thinking about security. People, process, technology. If your people are not on board with security, there is no way your integration solution is going to be secure, even your company. That's for sure, 100%. All right? So I'm giving you one example. It's very easy test to do if you want to just check about the security in your company, how it works. So you're aware, I don't know how many of you have spotted your colleague or your friend in the company just standing up and leaving the laptop open. How many? Raise the hands. Oh my God. Cool. Okay. That is an experiment that I recommend you to do, and you are going to learn a lot by this experiment. I call this the chaos monkey notepad experience. You know, the chaos monkey theory about testing. This is actually the same thing. So what you're going to do, when your friend is going to leave the laptop open, you just go to the laptop and you open a notepad and write, "You have been hacked," like that. All right? And stay there and waiting. Don't do nothing. Just stay there and waiting. You will be amazed about what's happened. That's crazy. All of them, they actually react in the same way. And the first reaction is this one. Okay. And the second one is actually this one. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's not even going to ask, hey, what's happened? Hey, someone, oh, sorry, I left my laptop open or something like that. No, nothing like that happened. What I want to say with this is we are human. That is the problem, all right? So we are scared or wherever it is. So we avoid, about many of the things. And this is why people are so important. This is why security and so on is so important. So what we can do about that? See, something Microsoft is pushing now, which is really good, is the Microsoft Office 365 campaign. Is a good platform you can use to prepare campaign for your customer and so on, and you can check about sending phishing campaign and all these kind of things. The other thing is about the Microsoft security community. I strongly recommend this one. There is a lot of material about that. You can find a lot of things, training, documentation, all this kind of stuff. I deeply use this community, and I push all my people in the company about joining this community. That is crucial, is important. People can learn a lot from that. There is a lot of material. Another big tip, another things I want to give you, take away today, is this one about certification. So many people asking me about security certification. And say, hey, Nino, what is the best security certification you can take right now? That's the best security certification. The first one, the CISSP, is a 360 level. If you are looking to join security and learn security at 360 level, management, just governance, management, policies, all these kind of things, standard, everything, that is the one, even if you want to get a lot of money about security. Because these are people like CISO, all this kind of stuff. So this is people that get a lot of money inside the company. The second one is the OSCP. If you enjoy security deeply, handily, you want to learn a lot, be an hacker in a real meaning, that is the certification. So what you are going to do is 24-hour exam, no stop. And you are going to hack like a 27 machine, and your score is going to be calculated in 24 hours. You just start hacking wherever you can. You build a report, send a report, everything is okay, you get the certification. That is a fantastic certification for security, practical security. CEH, this is a certification I've got, is the between one and the second, all right? It's very well-recognized certification, okay? It's not complex like the other one, but it's very well-recognized by the companies and so on. And of course, Azure certification, but these are really specific for Azure. Keep in mind, all right? Because some people get Azure certification, they say, I'm an expert about security. Okay, you know about Azure security, okay? But this is nothing, it's very far away about the other certification you see in there. Tip number 3, that is really important. So amateur hack tech, professional hack people. This is true, all right? So people that are really looking to hack your company or wherever it is, they hack the people. They usually don't get and try to attack your infrastructure or something like that because, people are much easier to attack. Developer, manager, CEO, wherever it is, very easy. So what is the strategy? Is always the same. This is the most effective strategy used, always. Is social engineering, so start searching about the company, what are you doing, all these kind of things. They get the target, is the same target as before, and after that, they are going to use any kind of method. It can be phone call, email, WhatsApp. They use a lot WhatsApp. All right. I don't know how many of you are aware about Pegasus? Raise your hands. Some of you. Is a software able to actually attack your phone with no click. So even if you receive the message, your phone is hacked. That's it. All right. So this is very used from the hacker. So when the target has been attacked, there are 2 different ways usually. One is about take ownership of the system, which means the hacker, they actually go inside your system, your integration solution. They don't do actually anything. They just start digging inside, and they start creating account, all these kind of things. They stay here for even 1 year, 2 years. At some point when they decide they are going, to start action about your system. And the second one, this one is the most used one because it's less expensive. They actually send a malware or a Trojan, okay? So what is a malware or Trojan? Very easily is something that, like a Trojan, is something that contains a package or an executable. It's going to be sent, it's going to be executed, all right? So one attack that is very effective is this one, is the reverse shell attack. This is a very used attack because it's very effective. It's going to be, it's going to attack the system and get the ownership of the system directly. For the system, I mean any kind of Windows operating system, for instance, all right? Which means also container and so on, operating system, container, and wherever. That's one of my first research I conducted this year, and I discovered a lot of things. We will see one today. How it works. Usually firewall block connection. This is the meaning of firewall, okay? What reverse shell attack does is they send you a software, and the software is going to call the attacker. So it's the opposite, because the firewall is being, built to block the connection, but actually this is the opposite. It's actually the target calling the attacker, and this is why it's so nasty, all right? So I start looking about this, and I discover a very big weakness in the Microsoft Defender, okay? If today I'm not going to get arrested, all right, I will be lucky. So that is a real face story. How I hack Microsoft Defender is Sandro Pereira, all right? And this is true. What I'm telling you today, this is true, okay? This is happening for real. It's happened for real. So what's happened is one point in time, ethical hacker, which should be me, okay, discover a new attack. That is the attack I discovered. What I discovered, I'm going to show the video now, this is a piece of video, just something shorter, okay? But this is real, it's still existing. One day, I was studying about this reverse shell attack, and I tried developing some code. I execute the code in Windows, and Windows Defender blocked me. He blocked me. That's okay, he's antivirus, he's blocked me. I say, all right, okay, he blocked me. Fair enough. I start digging using Hydra and other stuff, and started thinking, why is blocking me? Because you know what was the case, why it triggered my mind? Because I was using Visual Studio. So I was using Visual Studio, I click Start, and Defender blocked me. So I start digging on these things, and I found a way to avoid Microsoft Defender and conducted the reverse shell attack. I said, what? Seriously? What? So what I've done, I create the video. This is me creating the video for the bug hunting Microsoft, for real. I'm happy and smiling because I'm hacking Defender at the moment. And I'm actually showing to Microsoft what I've done to hack Microsoft Defender. This is I don't know if you can, I don't think you can see, but you can see here, I'm showing Microsoft's online code, okay? And this type of things, so you see I'm connecting now to a Linux machine, which is going to be the attacker machine. Okay, I am the target, the other one is the attacker. So at the moment I'm showing Microsoft, okay, I'm connecting with the netcat, everything, and now I'm going to execute Visual Studio, all right, and boom. You see, this one is my machine, this one. This is actually my machine. So actually now the attacker is inside my machine. And you can see I am executing Notepad in my machine from a Linux machine in Microsoft Azure, right? And I'm showing now Microsoft, now I'm switching. And now, you see, what I've done here, I actually restore the code in original way, and actually Defender is blocking me. All right? So when I start discovering this attack, I say, oh, this is really nasty. This is bad. Because actually, Defender is not blocking me. And we are speaking about the Microsoft antivirus. All right, so I had a chat with, and I opened the ticket even with Microsoft, all these kind of things, right? So, and I got a reply from a security engineer, and he told me, all right, this is a signature issue. All right, okay, a signature issue. You know what that means, signature issue? It means in order to execute this code, you need to be signed by a certificate. Right? Does it make sense? Okay. So what about the SolarWinds attack? How many of you know about SolarWinds attack? What they do, they inject, the SolarWinds is a very known software, used by Pentagon and a lot of big companies and so on. What's happened, they have been hacked. So someone, he just joined the company, wherever, he inject this code here, this kind of code here, inside SolarWinds. They released the package, everything across the world, and they got hacked everywhere. Pentagon, IBM, any kind of company was using SolarWinds. And this is exactly what's happened, all right? So when I discovered this one, all right, I tried to do my best, everything like that. At some point, they closed the ticket, wherever. Okay, I say, okay, if you close the ticket, and I send an email, if you close the ticket, I'm authorized to speak about. Because the bug hunting, when you send a ticket or wherever, you cannot speak anymore about what are you doing, everything like that. But if they close the ticket, you can do that. And this is why I'm speaking with you today about this, because this is a very nasty attack. And this is going to affect a lot of things everywhere. And this is why you need to be aware about that. And one of my first targets, it was actually Sandro. This is one classic call between me and Sandro, okay? Speaking about, hey, Nino, I need to do this or that, about this kind about security. This is myself usually during a call with Sandro. At some point, it just gets, yeah, okay, Sandro, wherever. So at some point, I say, okay, I was so annoyed by this call, everything. At some point, you say, hey, I'm doing this tool, and yeah, can I test this? Yes, do it. And I send the executable to Sandro, all right? And so the moment Sandro execute this, then I open the notepad in the machine. And that was the face. I remember that day because it was last speaking. Hey, Nino, yeah, at some point you say, hey, Nino, hey, what's that? Oh. What's that, you bastard? What are you doing? Actually, that was fantastic. So, and after that, I started digging, say, what can I attack here? I can attack everything, right? So the first thing was this one. Tip number 4, protect your container. That's the first things I've done. I think, okay, can I attack container? Yeah, I can attack container. For container, I mean almost any kind of container in cloud. I mean Docker, your function app, your API app, name it, okay? Wherever it is, I'm able to attack, just injecting this code, all right? And another things I tried, because you need to try and see how much far you can go with an attack. It was about attacking a Microsoft container. All right, okay? A friend of mine, Michael Stevenson, I don't know where he is. Yeah, okay, he chased me. I have the video about the attack, okay? I have the video here, but he told me, okay, if you have the balls, and you're not a chicken, you are going to do this in real during the session. I say, all right, okay. Hopefully I'm not going to get arrested, so, and I'm not sure it's going to work, but I'm happy to show you this attack, because this is so nasty, so scary, that it can actually give you the proper message. So what I'm going to do is this. Let's see, hopefully it's working. So we have this scenario here. All right. Okay, do you know what is this? This is a power up, right? What actually is a power up? Power up is a a kind of workflow, RAD application development, and blah, blah, blah. But at the end, what is this? It's a software as application, a software as a service, right? We're not speaking about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. This is software as a service, right? Okay. So what I've done, I try experiment and see how much I can actually do on this, and I try to inject some of the code. Let's see if I'm able to. What is the? Because the scale here. All right. Close, update. I really hate these things. This is definition. Okay, go in definition, and wherever it is. And Fagger connection, code preview. Okay, this is what I've done. I actually injected the code inside. This is a custom connector for Power Apps. Custom connector. So it gives you the possibility to create your custom connector. I say, wow, that's cool. You can put some code in there. Let's put some code in there, That night was so exciting because I need to try this. By the way, I also hacked BizTalk Server, but that's easy. So that was was kind of embarrassing. I just put some code in an orchestration, bam, I was inside the server. Okay, fine. That was so easy. So this is actually some of the code I executed and so on. And this one is a Linux machine in the cloud. Okay, this is the IP address of the machine, and this is the connector. Let's see if we are able to run this. This one is actually executing a shell command via port 443. I use the 443. Why? Because the 443 is the 443. Everybody uses the 443. Yeah, HTTPS, right? So it's always open 443. Do you know anyone closing 443? I don't. And this is why I'm using 443. All right? So, and after that, that's it. So this is going to call the Linux machine. And now, let's go down. Let me remove this one. Let's open the Linux machine. This is the Linux machine. And I'm going to execute this command. This is opening a Netcat connection. Netcat, I don't know how many of you know Netcat. Is a networking tool for network guys. This is something that you use to connect in shell with a remote machine. And hacker, they use this to connect to remote machine, right? The interesting point is I'm not using Netcat in the other side. I developed the code to open a shell connection. That's what I'm doing, all right? And by the way, I'm using .NET here, but you can do the same thing in Java, Python, and many other languages. So let me open this one. Now the Linux machine is listening. This is the attacker. It's just listening. It's there, doing nothing. All right. What we do here now, we try to. I'm laughing because you will understand why I'm laughing here. Because what we are doing here is very nasty. So if this is going to work, I tried this attack twice. The first one, it was a night when this was working. I was there trying, and when it was working, I thought, what? I close immediately the connection. That's because. And the second one was with a Microsoft manager because he was looking about understand. So let's open this one, test. So what is doing this one is I developed some code about changing in uppercase a string, something stupid, just as an example. So I put a string here. Let's see if it's working. Finger crossed. I don't guarantee this. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not, depending. Okay, test. Now I run test. Oh, look at this. You know what is this? You know what is this? You know what is this? This is a Microsoft machine. Let me close. But do you understand what I'm doing now? What's happening now? I mean, servers, nothing happened because I'm using from the cloud. There's nothing coming from here. But you realize how nasty is this? What I'm attacking here, let me close this one before any man in black is coming here. Can get the risk. It can be very nasty. So, okay, why this? Why I'm doing this for you? Because that is my message. If I'm able to attack the whale, I'm still able to attack the whale. We have done today in real time. What about your containers? Right? Think about that. Okay? How much, it can be even easier to do something like that. It's not suppose I have to be inside this machine. This is software as a service. This is not even my machine. This is Microsoft machine. All right? So that is why it's so important. How to protect on that. So to give you a list of things, I attack almost everything, function, all these kind of things. Everything able to execute a code is working. And even worse, if you have, you are aware about function, API, API app, or logic app, all these kind of things. They work in the same container, all of them. So if you hack one, it can be a function. You actually access to the container and containing all the application inside this container. All right. Another good scenario is a Kubernetes cluster hosting a website, web app, everything. All right, with the nasty code inside. And this is really bad because the code was inside DevOps. All right. So the developer just connect, download the code, everything like that, execute in Visual Studio, and get hacked in reverse shell attack. So from the machine. So there are many things. The best things I found to protect your container at the moment is this one. So it's actually executing a script which is going to simulate a connection in this case, 443 port. Okay? If it's free, the port is free, then it's okay. If it's not free, that is really bad, because it means someone is using this kind of attack in 443 port. This is the only one real way I found at the moment to stop this type of attack from a container. All right? Okay, let's keep going. Check your code, the script, and after that, check again. That is a must. I don't see many people do this, especially in a proper way. This is another type of attack. I discovered this attack 2 years ago. And this is a PowerShell attack. How many of you are using PowerShell in your solution? Okay. So this is Bob, an administrator. I'm using a person now for that, but of course, this is working even if you do in automation, all these kind of things. Okay? So Bob is going to connect to the cloud using connected Z account. So what's happening is PowerShell is storing in the machine, is storing all the token for the authentication. This is JSON token, everything is just store everything in the machine. It's not just about also the token, it's also storing a lot of information. That's quite curious. If you open this folder, you will find so many information you don't have idea. Subscription, a lot of things, just all listed in there. But that is just because the token. So what's happening is the hacker is going to take the file, grab the file, and after that, it can execute this code that you can see here on the top, import a Z context using the file, and it's going to impersonate Bob. It's actually become Bob. From the hacker, he became Bob. And from there, he's going to use this command in PowerShell to create a service principal account in the cloud. This is the first thing they are going to do, because they are going to create a backdoor in the cloud. And after that, they are going to use the get credential to connect from the service principal account into the cloud. All right? Okay, so this is very bad because it's very easy attack to do. Okay? And many people are using this attack right now. How you can avoid this? One recommendation I always give people, everything you are working, developing, all the administration, use Azure Bastion instead of using executing PowerShell from your computer or wherever, just connect via HTTPS, via Azure Bastion, and so on. Execute the code in a different place, in something reserved just for you. All right? Second things, process. All right? Process is the most important point to protect. I always insist in that. I don't know why people don't get this point. I don't know why. I see people using DevOps, pushing the code, do wherever they want, but they don't actually do anything to protect this code, to check this code. They do wherever they can for that, because this is the most vulnerable part, all right? Because you are developing your integration solution. A usual integrator, they think about perimeter, close, API management, firewall, this kind of thing. They don't think about internally the code, all these things. And this is where actually the attacker know that, and this is why they use the code. This is what I mentioned before about SolarWind attack. And this is actually the real attack I've done about the Microsoft Defender. The difference you see here is you see the line here on the bottom. This is the original line, which actually, because this line, Defender was triggering and say, okay, I got you. And this is just because this line. So what I've done, I just translate this using reflection in this way. So what you read here in these two lines is this one. And just because that, Defender was just ignoring. I say, okay, you can go. All right? This is actually what's happening in general, when they attack your code, they do these kind of things, right? This is what I call like a code masking. I'm going to do something, but in a different way, so you cannot understand what actually is happening now in your solution, okay? What you can do for that is, of course, using and check a pipeline using source code analysis tool and so on. You can find a lot in this link I provide you. There are a lot of free tools to do that. You can integrate in your pipeline. But the most important things for me is software engineering. How many of you are using software engineering, checking your code? How many of you? All right. Good for you. Good. Really amazing best practice. That is the top. You can do wherever you want with this analysis tool. There is no point. There is no point. Think about the Log4j attack. Log4j attack is a fantastic example, right? I was in a meeting with other CEO, CTO of other security company. I don't want to make name, of course, but very famous. And during this chat, it was like, we are checking this, we are checking that. We also integrate in Visual Studio, and developer can check and blah, 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 all this kind of thing. At some point I said, hey guys, okay, I agree with you. I mean, this is really amazing software, wherever you are doing, but there is one point here. Why we got Log4j now? After all this time, why? That is what we have to think about, right? So it's not easy at all to find a kind code masking attack or something like that. The only thing is able to do that is a human, is an expert. Is someone checking your code and looking at that is, what is this about? What is TCP client 443? What the heck is that? What the heck is that? No, that is not good and is going to do whatever you need to do, right? So this is something so important, and I don't see, you just show here how many people raise your hand about security and software engineers. There are very few people inside the audience, okay? Of course, integrating pen testing in the pipeline and so on. You can use tools like that. OWASP, I don't know how many of you know about OWASP. I recommend this, it's really nice, free tool, very supported, it's not cost at all, very easy to integrate in the pipeline. It can attack your Azure function, API apps, API management, or wherever you want to just attack it. It can do this. It's not costing at all. Use it. ZMap, Nmap, SQL map, you can find a lot of things like that. Very easy to integrate in your pipeline. Just use it. But there's nothing is able, to substitute something like a software engineer. I insist on this point. That's so important. You have absolutely to use a human for that. Other things, this one for me, every time is the same story here. I don't know how many of you, I mean, please, don't use personal account for Azure. Don't use personal account for Azure. Don't do it. No. It's a very simple recommendation. This one, you're putting like API management, firewall, all these kind of things, and in the meantime, you're using maybe personal account for Azure. And maybe these people are also contributors, even global admin, and they're using the same account for email. You don't even know if they are using for Facebook. You don't know that. If they get hacked, they actually get hacked even in Azure, right? This is why it's so important. And you know why people are not doing this? Because they are lazy. That is the truth. They are lazy. That's it. This is the truth. Because people don't like it to create a double account. They say, okay, let's put a Azure _ your name, or wherever naming convention you like to use in your company. Okay? But people don't do that. Another thing, that this is something that for me is disturbing. I don't know why. Okay? Don't use a common account. Don't do that. Don't use a common account. I know many are using a common account for DevOps. I know. With customer, especially with customer. You know? Especially by customer. The customer is providing you one single account for your company, and there are 10 developers using this single DevOps account in DevOps. I say, well, what's the problem? What's the problem? Are you serious? There are 10 people using a single account in DevOps for this customer. And this is even your people in your company. You're not aware what these people are doing in DevOps first. If something bad happened, what's happened? We are going to blame you, the company maybe. Maybe this can be a kind of issue. All right? So, tip number 7, protect your perimeter and data. Yeah, of course. This is quite, but I don't want to spend too much time here giving you 1,000 of recommendation, of technical recommendation, just a few one very important. And the first one is this one, isolation and tunneling. Please, if you have a public endpoint, okay, just close it. That's it. It's very simple than that. This is a kind of architecture I put because I was having a chat with an architect on this. Okay, I would say, okay, there is an application gateway and there is API management and so on. This is one architecture I found in the well-architected framework in Microsoft. Okay, in the portal. All right, I say, and this guy was saying me, yeah, we are protected. Well, how? This is a public endpoint. Oh, we are using SSL. Okay, all right. That is a public endpoint. And because it's a public endpoint, it's exposed. So people can actually try to attack your public endpoint. They do a lot of things with that. So if you can, and this is I recommend, just close the public endpoint. You can use VPN, you can use Expressroute, use it. Provide this kind of guidance and use this kind of guidance. Another important point is about centralization in security is equal to optimization, always. It's very convenient. This is a classic organization. If you are not using this, I recommend you to use it, okay, where you're using what I call the base subscription. How many of you are using this kind of strategy in Azure? Like using a base subscription like that as a unique endpoint of access for everything from on-premise and so on. How many of you are using this? 1? 2? Okay. So this one is the best way you can use to save your money, optimize your management for security and so on, and to protect and control about the access in your company Azure. So using a single subscription for the shared asset, like firewalling, even API management, that's good. You can put API management in a base subscription and using from there, all right? Instead of installing API management in different subscriptions, which is extremely expensive if you think about that. Extremely expensive. But if you're able to centralize this, then you're going to save a massive amount of money. And also you have a single point, to control for security, all right? This is the kind of things that I recommend because I see a lot of overlapping and misunderstanding about using the guidance and the good documentation you have by Microsoft. There are 3 main portals in Microsoft about that. And one is the Cloud Adoption Framework Guidance, right? So why this is important? This is just, you use this portal when you are going to look about, 1, migrating to the cloud. That is good. You can find what you need in there. And second, if you need to consolidate your governance. So you already have cloud, and you want to consolidate your governance, everything. When everything is clear by that, you can switch on the Azure Well-Architected Framework. The Well-Architected Framework is really good if you are looking to get the best practice about architecture, how to optimize, your architecture, everything like that. When everything is clear in there, and you don't need this, then you can use the Azure Architecture Center. This is more hands-on, where you can say, okay, I have clear about what the best practice. Now I need an architecture. This is where you can find, out-of-the-box ready architecture that you can actually even deploy inside Azure. You can even start as a starting point. This is very useful. So maybe you have a clear understanding, this is going to be my architecture. You can install something ready to use and use it. Tip number 9. This I think may be one of the most important tips. A correct security culture stems from the top. It doesn't come from the bottom, all right? If, it is always like that, if your stakeholder, high management, they are not on board with security, there is no way the company can be secure, or even your solution or whatever it is. There is no way something can happen. How you can involve top management and all these people? I experiment this, it's working very well. Very well. There is an Azure benchmark in Azure portal. It's creating you a report for a PDF, okay? So something you can do, you can use this PDF, send your PDF weekly or monthly to your management. So they can actually look about the security posture. And they can act, or at least they are aware about what is going on in Azure. And they can say, okay, we have 10% security score. I don't care. Okay, you get your responsibility if something bad is going to happen. So usually management is going to react about that. And this one is Azure Security Compass Workshop. This is something good. If you never heard about this, this is really nice. It's one-day workshop, with all the material ready to use everything. And this is very nice to conduct this internally in your company. Have a check about that because it's very, very useful. Last tip, maybe is the most important, is don't do security for the sake of security. I see many people, when they start using and getting engaged with security, just try to provide wherever they can. I say, oh, I use this, firewall, all these kind of things. No, this is not the way. Very important is you always keep in mind this, all right? The CIA triad is the base of everything in security, all right? So for each services on data, you need to find a good balance between security, performance, and cost, looking about the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, all right? And this is the correct way to work on this. So, okay, I'm in the Q&A. I hope you got, the message, so, and so on. Thank you so much.
Covey.co